Today we'll be exploring Vaisakhi, the most well-known and celebrated festival in the Sikh calendar. We all know the common narrative, but in this episode we'll go beyond that with the help of J.S. Gadawal's Master of the White Hawk and have our questions answered by Dr. Kamleep Singh. Together we'll explore authentic eyewitness accounts of Vaisakhi 1699. So join us today as we take a journey down the rabbit hole of written sources regarding Vaisakhi. Be sure to check out the other extracts or listen to the full podcast episode to find out more. You referred to Macauliffe earlier in MacLeod. One thing that is interesting is Macauliffe is the first person to state that a Persian historian, Butte Shah, argues that a news writer of the period sent to the Mughal emperor a copy of Guru Gobind Singh Ji's address to the Sikhs of Anandpur on the 1st of Vaisakhi, Sambat 1756, which adds up with 1699, but we'll go into that in a second. Gadawal's view is that the address isn't, he's saying that this eyewitness account can't be true. He says that it can't be true because it starts with a direct statement of revenge, and the eyewitness account argues that the main reason for the Khalsa being established is to seek revenge for Guru Gobind Singh Ji. And then also the chronology is faulty, with the creation of the Khalsa being placed as early as 1675, which doesn't really make much sense. Chronicles of Bud Singh, Bhagat Mal, Kushwant Rai, Ahmad Shah Batala, Ganesh Das, Sohan Lal Suri and Aliuddin all follow this same account. They all basically verbatim say that there's an eyewitness. And to be honest, I think I first came across it at university and couldn't find any, there doesn't seem to be any truth to the account. Gadawal's conclusion is that the speech that Butte Shah attributes to Guru Gobind Singh Ji on the day of creating the Khalsa is purely an imaginative feat. Direct speech was a stylistic feature of historical works in Persian, and Butte Shah's work is quite full of it. From your reading of historical sources, how much truth is in the statement itself, and are there any eyewitness accounts to it besides perhaps some of the pre-colonial texts?
Let's look at the elephant in the room there, Ahmed. Yeah, I mean, I would just check my phone, but I loosely. Yeah. And I know the subject reasonably well. Yeah, and so the thing is, all of those chroniclers are not Sikhs.
Good point.
Right. So the thing is, number one, they have a different style of recording history. Most of them write in Persian, Urdu type of language, right? Or you could say what the British called Hindustani, yeah?
Yep.
And so the fact is, they're writing in that style and they're trying to convey how they see what the Guru's mission is.
So it's a literary structure almost.
Right, like what J.S. Gadawal says. Now, why is it that Gavi Eastern Talksing doesn't mention that account?
Because it's not based in the truth.
Not based on the truth.
Yeah.
Why is it that you don't see this anywhere?
Yeah, we don't see it anywhere else. It's just these guys.
We've just went through. Let me just go back here. I mean, I go through the Amrit Sajjad. We went through Guru Gobind Singh's own work.
Yep.
We went through Senapat.
Yep.
We went through Bansavli Nama, Chaupa Singh Ratanama, Ratan Singh Pangu. We went through Baba Santa Singh's exegesis of that. We went through Koshish.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Koshish is writing from the part of Ahis, isn't it? Right? Which is a core account. We went through by Dia Singh's Ratanama. I mean, we've been through a lot of, and you've talked about the Hukamnama around the same time. They could easily mention it or counteract it. And we've been through even Singh Sabha scholars, right? And their works. So for me, I mean, I'm sorry, but
if no one else is mentioning,
the elephant in the room is for Sikhs that document has no meaning.
Yeah, fair point.
Or if it existed.
Yeah, if it was,
and that's a big if.
Just moving on then, because there's a hell of a lot that I still want to get included. The main point then, date of instituting the Khalsa. Now, what's interesting about this is Chaupa Singh places Vaisakhi in 1697. Most of the other 18th century sources place it between 1695 and 1698, which is obviously a year before kind of the established year within the modern narrative. In fact, a Hukamnama of 1698 to the Sangat of Banur includes an instruction to come at the time of Vaisakhi and Holi, fully armed to take the Guru's ball even, and Kaur Singh's Gurbalas also places it in 1698. So again, what you were saying earlier about how Maharaj is telling them how to come prepared before the Vaisakhi, the initiation ceremonies even happen. As you were saying, Gurinder Singh Mann from the USA has examined a similar Hukamnama of 1698 and thinks that its contents suggest the existence of the ceremony of initiation again in the same year, not in 99. Furthermore, and some may say I'm probably stretching the truth at this point, but there's a manuscript of Dasam Granth Takat Patna Sahib dated to 1698, almost implying all the new Bani scripture is created for the new Panth. It's almost like the Dasam Granth is created
Exactly.
in order then the literature is created or the scripture is created to then create the institution so it then can use this scripture as its foundation, for want of a better word.
Exactly.
Right?